Yvonne.
Good afternoon. Hi,
Good
Evie.
afternoon.
Hi, Evie. How are you?
Good. Overall,
Hot.
hot, of course. Time of the year.
It is indeed.
Well, I'm confident, at least in the UK, is going to get cooler.
For sure. That's what they're telling us anyway. We'll wait and see. So, yeah, I'm sure it will. And, of course, this week, for those who tune in regularly, you'll know that we've been focusing on mythbusting. So what are those phrases and those stories that keep on replaying? For those who are joining us perhaps for the first time, we really focus on the work of positive intelligence and how by building our positive intelligence and understanding the innate sage powers that we have, we can really break these phrases down, we can minimize them, we can stop them from keeping us small. That's the way that I always see it. We can stop them from keeping us small, stop them from kind of interfering with our progress, with our growth. And that's what we do with these sessions. We just talk about some of those phrases that are relatively common, share our own experiences of them if we've experienced them, and then also give you some empowering reframes, how you can look at them somewhat differently. And so with that said, Evie, what are we looking at this week?
Well, I alluded to it earlier. It's about confidence. And as much as you can use the word confidence for certain things, it is very often the case that you say, or we say, that I'm not confident enough to take action for certain things. And this is a huge myth, because we sort of, I think we equate confidence with not being afraid to move forward, or having everything or all our ducks in a row, and do it, which is not necessarily what confidence is all about. And it has been said that actually you are getting confidence by doing whatever it is you want to get confident at. And you can see that, especially, like for people that are playing instruments, for example. You're not confident to start with, you're learning, but as the time progresses and the more work you put into it, the more confident you become. So I think that is how we need to see confidence overall and move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're so right. I think when people hear the word confidence, it's almost like if they can't access it, however they perceive it to be immediately, then they're not confident. But confidence is something that grows. Confidence is something that you can build. And actually, I do remember coaching somebody in your field of expertise. It was somebody who was going for a job interview, and it was a big thing for her. This particular job was something she really wanted. So of course that just doubled her sense of, oh my gosh, what if, and all of the downsides of that. And I said to her, look, I said, when you go for the interview, if you went and you felt nothing, what would that be like? And she said really weird. She said, then it would almost feel like I don't really care about the thing. It's just like whatever. She said, but I do care, and this would be such an amazing opportunity. I said, so you can see why, if that's what you're thinking and feeling about this role, why that sense of kind of anxiousness is probably building, because you really want it. It really matters. And so what you want to do is take that energy and use it in the interview, as opposed to winding yourself up in the prelude to it. When you go in, use that energy to demonstrate why you're the right person, what it is about this job. Take the time to pause and really listen to the questions that they ask, so that you can answer authentically and openly. That's the stuff. It's energy. So how are you going to use that energy? And I'm glad to say it didn't fall on deaf ears, because she went for this particular job interview and she did get it. She was chosen. She was like one of 5 shortlisted out of 200 or something ridiculous, and she did get the job. So it's understanding. It's got nothing to do with being fearless. It's literally about, okay, I want this thing, or I want to achieve this thing. Unless I put myself in it, how will I ever know? Nothing will change if you don't put yourself in it. You'll always keep on thinking that you haven't got the confidence to do it. And I know, certainly from my own experience, my confidence has always grown by just doing. Like, let's just see what happens, and without actually tying myself to an outcome. It's like, it's an experience. Let me experience it and see what happens and what lessons come up for me.
You have outlined it perfectly, actually, because that's exactly what it is. And let's face it, we are not confident in every area of our life. We are confident in some areas. We are, more confident in some than others, or whatever. And there are different stages of confidence as well. And when it comes to things like wanting to get something and being so attached to the outcome, that's the moment where you feel that all the negative stuff is coming through. But the truth is that that's the time when you need to let go. You need to just forget about the outcome and just go, as you said, authentically with your full energy, and enjoy the journey, because that's
Yeah.
all you can do, that's all you can control. But also, another trick that I tell my clients is that, which area do you feel really confident in? And I'm sure there is an area that you feel really, really confident about. And what does that mean? You have it. You have the evidence that you are really good at something, right? So why don't you take those feelings? Why don't you take that, the way that you think, you feel, the posture that you are holding when you are thinking of that thing, and transfer it, or imagine it like this. And it does work. It
Yes.
does work, because what we think, it becomes like real in so many ways.
Yeah, completely. And that's such an important point when it comes to things like confidence, like posture, because it's really difficult to feel confident if you're all slouched down and your energy's down and your voice is down. It's really hard to feel confident, right? So that posturing yourself, opening your chest, standing tall, all of those things feed into feeling confidence. And I remember when I had my first business, and one of my clients had a radio show, and she would interview guests from sports, TV personalities, all sorts. And one week, I think I may have shared this story before, she said to me, I'm going to be traveling, I'm going to be away. Would you do the recording for me? Would you interview this person? And I was just like, say what now? And, like, I've never done that before. What are you talking about? And it was that I've never done it before. How in goodness names will I do it? She said, I trust you. You sound great. I know you'll do a great job. And I'll give you some questions. And actually, the guest was Esther Ranson, if I remember correctly. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh. Oh, and then I just thought, you know what? She trusts me. If she trusts me to do this, I'm just going to show up, do the best that I can, and let's see what happens and what lessons will I take from it. And that's all I did. And actually, we had some technical failures, if I remember correctly, that day as well. And it was just like, but we kind of got enough, and it was fine. But I remember thinking, okay, now that I've done it, I know that if she asks me again, I won't be thrown into any sort of sense of panic. I'll just be like, okay, who is it? What do I need to know? What do I need to ask? Because I had that experience. Had I pushed back, though, and just said, no, can't, then I would have continued to believe that that wasn't possible for me to do. So we have to be willing to put ourselves into those situations where we're doing it for the first time and not expect ourselves to be brilliant at it either, and know that that's okay.
Absolutely. You know, I read recently somewhere that being in your comfort zone and being in a safe zone, they're two very different things. And we sort of like interchange the two terms, but the reality is that we might be not in a safe zone, but in our comfort zone. And what that means is that, you know, if we are not open to take the chance and to see what we can do, and learn, because I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? Then you might never know that you're not really in a safe space. You're just comfortable being there doing it, and you will never know what would look like if you were in a really safe place, which in essence it means that, you know, it's not only just safe, it's comfortable, it's like everything that being safe means to a human being, I suppose. And so, yeah, I completely agree with you. And it is nice to know that by taking, you know, those steps, and by just being open to the possibility of like being right, or not really, you know, being so like upset if something went wrong, but just go with the flow, you are very likely, if nothing else, to at least learn something about yourself as well.
And it gives us the opportunity to identify the things that we love doing or that we would never want to do again. I mean, how do you know what
Right.
you love doing if you never attempt it? You know, someone may say to me, "Do you want to climb Mount Everest?" I say, well, it's not on my top three things that I want to do, but maybe if the opportunity came, maybe I would. I don't know. I would perhaps do it. I would without being tied to the outcome of getting to the top of it, because it's not really that important to me. But if it was something that was important to me, then I would want to give myself the opportunity to do it well. What that would mean, training for it, speaking with people who've already done it, preparing myself the best I can to go do it. So I think, you know, we have to understand that confidence grows through doing, not waiting, and certainly not talking ourselves out of the experience. And if we keep on looking at these things as experience, I want the experience. I may dislike the experience, but at least let me have it first before I say it's a no-go or that I can't do it. Because that's the other thing is, you know, when we talk about that not confident enough, there's a part of us that's saying I can't.
Yeah.
And how is that? And what part of that is really true? What part of that is really true?
And also ask yourself, I mean, okay, I'm not confident enough. How am I going to get confident if I just don't take the steps, if I don't take the action? So it's about, you know, the chicken and the egg scenario. You need to like go out there and take the steps, even if you don't feel confident. It's like that book, isn't it? Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's exactly what this means at the end of the day. Because the
Yeah.
not feeling
Yeah.
confident
And one
is a
small step.
disguise for, yeah, it's a disguise for being scared.
And I think, and we all, you know, we've all experienced fear. I'm sure that that would not be too broad a statement to say we all have, because we probably all have in some shape or form, and we know that that can literally hold us in a space of inaction. And so the important part of being confident is just one small action. Because if you take one small action, you tick it off the list, even if there's another 25 actions to go to get you to where you want to go, you've got one done. And
Yeah.
then once you've got one done, let's move on to the next one. So this is also about finding the way that feels most ease and flow for you, which may be completely different for somebody else. So, and that's also why it's important not to do the comparison thing. Oh my gosh, but she does it with so much ease and she just throws herself in, and that you cannot do that comparison. You're probably starting from two very different places and have two very different inner dialogues. So work with the dialogue that you have, and if that means tiny steps every day or every week, do that, but be consistent.
I love that, Yvonne. I love that, how you mentioned the two different inner dialogues, and we all have our own, unique inner dialogue. And like not comparing, I think, is definitely one of the best advices that we can give to anyone and ourselves. Because at the end of the day, um, if we do just compare, all we do is hold ourselves back.
Yeah.
You cannot compare because nobody can do you better than you, as you cannot do anybody else, basically. So that's it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that by
Yeah.
itself can give you the confidence, like because yeah, there isn't another Evie around there that will do things exactly as I will do them. So that gives me the confidence to just go ahead and do them, because it can't be duplicated in any form or way. So hey, I may as well show
Yeah.
up, and even if
Yes.
it is in an imperfect way.
Yes, and that's a beautiful thing, because that for me speaks into, it gives you the space to show up as you. You're not having to perform and trying to be like, or this is just space for you to show up, be you, do you, and see what happens. Because who knows, something absolutely amazing and brilliant may happen. You may come out of that experience and think, wow, I didn't even know I had that talent, that skill, that gift, that knowledge, whatever it is. So for me, it's just giving yourself permission to have an experience before you make any kind of decision about it being good or bad, or something you would do again or you never want to do. It just give yourself the permission to have that experience, and then you can decide whether you would ever do it again or not. But also know that I had the confidence to attempt to do it.
Absolutely. And yeah, the next phrase, which is I think very similar to the first one, but because we use different phrases in a way that limits us, and you might say, oh, but I never say I'm not confident to move forward, but you might be saying I don't know enough yet. So that's pretty much the same thing. So let's unpack this one a bit,
Yes.
Yvonne.
Yeah, they may sound very similar, but of course they may feel very different for two people. And I don't know enough yet often speaks into that knowledge space. Like I don't know. I literally don't know enough. And therefore, for me, what that's really saying is it's almost like a delay tactics, because the fear is, if I go and do this thing, and what if I say the wrong thing, or what if somebody asks me something and I can't answer it? And these are the sorts of things that tend to come up when we're talking about this particular phrase. I don't know enough yet, or how can I take that job because I don't know five, six, seven, eight things on the list of things that they're telling me that I need to know. All of these things. And that for me actually is quite a big one. The amount of people I know who have honestly ridiculously qualified in so many ways, but they'll see one thing in the job description that they haven't done before, they don't have knowledge of, and they'll be like, I don't know enough. I couldn't possibly go for that. I just don't know enough. And I'm like, what? You know, like there's 15 things there and there's one thing that you've spotted that you haven't got experience in, and you think that discounts you from the role. You Because I think that also is a little bit of saying, I'm not into learning. I mean, if you're into learning and growing, you would be really having that opportunity to say, well, I don't have experience in that, but you know what, I can learn that. I could learn, look at all the other things I've learned. So, that the language that we use and the story that we tell is just so crucial, because it can absolutely keep us trapped, or it can propel us into things we didn't even know were possible.
100%. And the other thing that I want to just, like put a light on this particular phrase, that it sort of hides behind the fact that I don't know enough. That is a fact. So it must be true since it is a fact. And automatically it becomes a nice excuse not to move forward, not to learn, not to take that step, because factually I don't know that thing, right? But it could easily be turned on its head and say, yeah, you know what, I really don't know anything about this, but I'm interested enough to move ahead, to learn something about it, to research, to find out how. And that itself also, if you get to that stage, automatically it gives you the confidence to move forward and say, yeah, I don't know enough about this, but I have the ability to learn about it. And not only the ability, but also the want to learn about it. Because the ability is one thing, it's like whether you really want to learn about it or not. But don't use the phrase as the deterrent from moving forward, because
Yeah,
that's only an excuse, and that's all it is. As even though it sounds, very factual, very like,
yeah.
it is what it is.
And I think also, so that, because when we talk about excuses, I think sometimes people feel, that can feel quite crushing to someone to hear, like it's just an excuse. It's a message that's been playing, that is playing out for you. This is not about you, the person. This is a message that is just playing out and showing up in those moments of importance, when actually this is something that you do want to do, and then you feel like, I haven't got enough knowledge, therefore I can't, or I mustn't, or somebody else would be able to do it better than me. All this stuff that then comes up, that just keeps on feeding this language. And actually being able to say, as you rightly said, Evie, I don't know this thing, however, there are lots of things that I didn't know until I learnt them, right? So remember, there's loads of things that we didn't know until we learnt them. Then we had the opportunity to learn them. And then we had the opportunity to implement them. Because with all the learning in the world, unless you start doing anything with it, it's just a load of information, right? So it's just giving yourself that permission to say, okay, I don't know this, but I'm willing to learn about it. And as I learn about it, I'm willing to trial it, test it, explore it, whatever, and see if it's something that does interest me. See if it is something I do want to do. See if it's something that I do want to spend more time learning about. Give yourself the opportunity, give yourself the permission to at least explore before you shut it down. And then if you're not interested, guess what? Yeah, shut it down and focus on the stuff that really matters.
Absolutely. That's the thing. I mean, we would not suggest to anyone that okay, um, this phrase does not hold water power or it's not true for anything or anyone. The thing is that what we are inviting you to do is like really question the truth of those phrases for you, because as I said, there might be something that you really don't want to learn about. Or even if, like, there are people that they really feel that, okay, that's it, I really don't want to be involved in more learning, I'm tired, I'm whatever, and if that's their truth, that's what they want to do, of course, that is absolutely fine also. But always question your patterns, always question the limitations, because we all know our limitations. We might not understand or see our blind spots, but we do have a good understanding of who we are, and what limits us. So if there are things that are repeated, question them. Question them.
And I was just thinking, like, I don't know enough yet, and I was saying about, even if that feels like an absolute truth, like there's something, and I don't know enough about whatever. Let's just say I don't know enough about politics. That's maybe something. I'm not sure that I'll ever know enough about politics. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But I may say that to myself to stop myself from being involved in, or really trying to understand and really grasp that. And then I have to say, well, as I reject the willingness to learn or understand, what does that mean for me? How does that impact me? That means that there are things that are happening perhaps around me or in my world that I'm just saying, someone else will have to take care of it, because I'm not willing to step up. I'm not willing to understand enough to have a voice in that arena. Now, again, if you don't want to have your voice in that arena because it's not that important to you, fine. If you're doing it from the perspective of really almost like delaying and inevitable, like, I do need to know some of this, then you have to really question that and just say, oh, look, how long am I going to delay it for? And actually, if I delay it for another 5 months or another 5 years, how am I going to feel then, when I have to dip my toe in the water, when I have to start developing that knowledge? Surely, if I can do it in this moment, it will take me to an understanding of whether this is something I even want to go further into or not. Why would I want to put it off for another 5 years, then dip my toe in and suddenly think, oh, why did I even worry about this for 5 years? I've got no interest in it whatsoever. So there is just something for me about, I don't know enough yet, that I think I can definitely say that I've probably experienced before. I don't know enough yet. But then if it's been important to me, just saying, actually, I'm willing to put the time, energy, investment, effort in, because it feels important. It feels like something that will be useful to me, useful in my work, useful in my relationships, useful in whatever. And then just, letting all of the doubt and the fear subside.
That's exactly what I think that should follow this type of statement, because if it stops you from doing something, like for example, as solopreneurs, right? You are on your own, you're starting a business, or you have a business. The technology is like incredible, and there is so much to learn, to do, to move forward. And if you were not willing to learn, you wouldn't really be able to move forward with your business. So is that an option? And somebody would say, and I'm the first one to say, yes, I would love to have like somebody that does the things that I don't want to learn. And that's okay as well, because not everything we can learn, or we want to learn. I think that most of the things that we want to learn, we can learn. So it is about choice again. And you can only have choice if you are aware of what is stopping you, or what is, moving you towards a certain direction, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. And I think also with the emphasis here on the, I don't know enough, the learning aspect is also understanding how best you do learn. I learn best by doing. I like to do something and learn that way. Some people like to learn, theoretically, just reading stuff, and some people, so some people just like to watch something. I mean, it doesn't matter. But if you understand how you like to take information, how you like to grow, if you like, your knowledge, utilize that. And I'm not saying discount all the other ways, because there's a part of me that believes that actually when we can dip into all those different ways, it really deepens the knowledge that we can have. But also know that you've got enough to start. If you're even thinking about it, then you have enough to begin. Doesn't matter where you begin, just start at your beginning, start at your page one, whatever that may be.
100%. That's the thing. It's like and again we go back to the comparisons, because if you do not compare, then you will be happy to start where you are rather than where somebody told you or somebody else is or whatever. And it won't matter. And I know that for a lot of us, and I think we've mentioned that before, it's like time becomes an issue. But again,
Mm.
there's nowhere better to start than today. So, like you cannot go back. So it doesn't matter. If you want to
Indeed.
start something, start it today. That's it.
Indeed. Yeah, I think with this one, it's really about something that you had collated, Evie, was progress over perfection. So if progress over perfection,
100%.
give yourself that opportunity. Do the thing before you feel ready. If you do the thing before you feel ready, all you're doing is building up that potential. You're building up that knowledge. You're building up that opportunity, and know that that's okay, because that's how most people do it. You know, most of us aren't born with the A to Z encyclopedia buried within us. We discover stuff as we go, right? And we learn from others, and we learn from ourselves.
Like if this shows up for you quite often, just ask whether it is true, like everything. I think that's one of the most powerful questions that we can ask ourselves throughout our lives. Is this true?
And that also is, understanding the difference of something may feel real, but is it true? So because they're two very separate things. It can feel real. Everything that you're feeling in your body, everything that's being that's happening up here, can make it feel so real. But is it the truth? And I think if we go back and we look at our history, and then we think, well, before I did that, I didn't know that, and now I know that. So I understand that actually it's not the truth. It just feels really real in this moment, and that's okay. So I think we're kind of there for this week. As always, we invite you any comments, any thoughts, anything that resonates with you, anything that you would think differently, or have a different perspective, please share with us. We kind of like that too, because we do not have all the answers. Never claim to. And we love hearing the different perspectives as well. And of course, this is some of the work that we do in our community, Permission to Thrive, where we are working and helping and supporting midlife women break through these phrases and these stories so they can step into their brilliance, where they're meant to be, doing the things that they truly want to do, and knowing that they have the resources to do so with a community that supports them.
I think the one thing I want to add here is, like, through the community, you also not only find the evidence all around you, but you are supported in so many ways, to be able to stick to, the progress, to the things that you want to do. Otherwise, it all, like, sort of like loses its momentum. Let's say, let's not forget that it's one
Yes,
thing to know and it's another thing to do. So, yeah, that's what community helps people
indeed.
do: stick to it, keep doing it, and having results.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Get your wins. And there is nothing like community to help you ensure that that occurs, that support, that encouragement, the celebrations, the empathy, all of that stuff, which sometimes we find really difficult to do on our own. In community, we get to do together for each other. each other. And that is gold. So with that, Evie, thank you as always.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Even in the heat. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you.
Thank you.